Are we going live?
Yep, we're live. It says end stream in the top corner. Yeah, we're live for 8 seconds.
Oh,
All
okay.
right.
There's a
Well,
joke there.
Well,
weaker connection, apparently. But
yeah, you're still black.
yeah, we're probably that. So we'll probably just cut the cam just so we don't call out. But that's fine. So we have Dylan with Dizzy Reptiles, Kodey at Katy of Constrictors, and we're
Well, I
waiting
know.
on Katy of Lilac Hollow. Just to talk about the CRBE post recap, I want to get people's opinions, discuss what they saw, what they're surprised by, discuss ball python sales because that's what we do, stuff like that. So tell us how you thought about the show there, Dylan.
Well, this was what? How many have I been to now? This would have been the fourth one, I think. I went in 2019. Then 2020 we didn't do. 2021 was there one in 2021?
Was there with the thing? I don't know.
I don't remember.
With the COVID?
Yeah, I don't think there was one in 2021. I think they picked back up in 2022. And then I think I've been to every one.
3, 2022, 2023, and 2024.
And 2019.
Sure, but
yeah, 3 consecutive. This one, I mean, so I went with a kind of a different mentality this time than I have a lot of other times. Most of the time, I would go maybe looking for a couple ball pythons and just hanging out with friends and stuff. I mean that's usually always the case. Is just hanging out with friends. That's what going to a lot of shows is. But this time I went into it with the mindset of like, if I do get anything, I didn't want a ball python, and
okay.
I would say the show was actually pretty good for that. There was definitely a lot less ball python breeders than there have been in the past, and we can kind of see that a lot of the other animals are getting a lot more attention. I mean,
less ball python breeders.
Sorry?
You notice there's less ball python breeders.
Yeah, definitely less ball python like vendors. More like a lot of colubrids. And definitely there was a couple of odds and ends species like white lips, green trees. There was some basins. What else did you see, Kodey?
Capture bred tree monitors, larger variety of amphibians than I'm used to seeing. Alberta laws are fun that way. A lot of inverts, just oddball stuff compared to, well, I can't compare it to CRBE. That was my first one, but
I did enjoy seeing some Alberta vendors that flew in just for the show. And you, Kodey, coming from Alberta, it was great to have you there. And Isaac from BC, and the Americans came up. It was really cool to see a lot of other people travel in for the show, which is I think has been missing. Except for from the paid, like the influencers may have come up, like Dave Kaufman's come up before.
Yeah.
What was actually crazy is someone that came up.
Hey, Katy.
Hi, Katy.
Hello, I made it.
I didn't know they showed up until after I was already home at the end of Sunday. It was the Crutchfields.
You didn't see him there?
No, I didn't see them. I didn't even know that they were there.
I didn't see Tom. I saw Stacy though, but I didn't catch any of their show stuff. Anyone catch anything on the stage?
Oh, I didn't see any of that.
Didn't get the chance to.
I didn't.
Hello,
well,
Tom.
I was busy the whole time, so I didn't get to see any of the extra stuff beyond my booth.
Right. You had a busy booth, did you, Katy?
Yeah, I was pretty busy.
Yeah, I think
trying to make sure my volume's good on.
Katie's the only vendor that was there here tonight.
Yep.
Well, that's why I had to ask her to come.
But yeah, so I went with the idea of I didn't want I didn't want to get another ball python. And so we were looking, had my eyes with king snakes, and then Kodey, Isaac, Danny, everybody was going, hey, there's the green tree python from Jan at Monarch Reptiles, and I was hemming and hawing for the rest of the afternoon. And then finally, at the end of the day, I was like, all right, let's do it. Because Kodey went and got the other one that was there.
Yes. You finally did it. You bow down to the peer pressure.
And
I
Mr.
appreciate
I don't
it.
cave to peer pressure.
Yeah.
Clearly it worked.
Yeah. Well.
But technically, it's not Dylan's snake, it's Danny's, from what I heard.
Yeah, it's our dual-owned snake. He's sitting here next to me.
You guys have a dual-owned cat too, right?
Yes, Socks. Where you at?
Go get her.
Socks.
All
she's
right.
eating.
So, I know I got sold. So I was really interested to see like kind of what sales were like for people, ball python wise. So I know a couple people I talked to had upwards of about 20 snakes over the whole weekend sell. Some boas, some ball pythons. You talked to Peter Williams, right, Dylan? What did he say? Did he have a good show?
Yeah, I talked to him for a little bit. He said he had a decent show. Definitely, it's been better than the recent ones he's had. He didn't like sell everything out and make a ton of money. He said he made his money back from the show, but he doesn't know if it's like a sign that the market's coming back or if it's just, there was a lot of people on there on the weekend. But he seemed a little optimistic about it. He seemed like things were feeling a little better. And
did he give you a price point roughly of what he sold, like how much his
No.
sales were? So I don't know about one of the guys I talked to, but one of them told me it's like mostly 250 and under and a couple of higher end stuff. We sold about 20 snakes, and Katy and I had a brief conversation today. And I was saying, like, if you've got a few vendors who have done double-digit sales over the weekend and just ball pythons and stuff, that's a pretty steady market and a pet market that's really coming back. I would say if it's 250 and under, I think the pet market is coming back, which is the first sign of the ball python market becoming healthier, in my opinion. I could be wrong. What do you guys think?
Just talking to other vendors at the end of the show on Sunday, it definitely seemed like people were a lot happier than they have been the last few shows. It's like, remember the last couple of shows I did in the springtime, people were, they weren't selling very much. And the tone was kind of down, like, I didn't quite make my money back, or only sold maybe one snake, or didn't sell any snakes. This show, I didn't talk to like just ball python breeders, but I talked to a couple of other people as well, and they sold. There was one gecko breeder in particular who is near Kingston, lives in the same area I'm in. And he sold 20 geckos, I think, which was pretty incredible for him. Although he generally does pretty well anyway, but he said it was a really, really good show for him. And I don't know. I think just talking to people that it was definitely a lot better show than it has been.
Yeah, so that's really good. And then I think it brings into exactly like Katy and Dylan. I say this to you, I think Isaac and Kodey, that Dylan's like the epitome of like snake keeping with ball pythons. Like if we're bringing all these people in with ball pythons, like it's the gateway, right? So Dylan, you bought into ball pythons originally.
Oh,
right?
Okay. I'm like, what?
You're the
funny
epitome
watching
of
the
everything.
face
of
trying
a
to figure out
ball
where Aaron
python
was going
breeder?
with that.
I'm like, what? Okay.
So you bought into ball pythons first,
Yeah.
and then you now have a pair of IJ carpets, and you have
Yep.
the green tree python.
Yep.
And so you've got your PCs, and you're like, hey, I'm going to put my carpets in here. I'm going to do this, and then you're going to upgrade, and then that's how you snowball into other species. Katy, I know you bought your first, or at least to my knowledge, first king snake.
Yep.
And I think this is how it goes. Like, it's really good that all these pet people coming in buying ball pythons, and they're eventually going to spread out or find their other passion. Because I have known people to either entirely get out of ball pythons and they find their passion in boas or retics or bloods, or they kind of do a bit of both. And I think that's just super healthy across the market, right?
I mean, I definitely like. I was into ball pythons for so long before I could actually keep them. Like, back in like the snake bites, Brian Barczyk days of like 2008 to 2012. Was super into watching all the YouTube, but I could just never actually keep them. And then I finally got to be able to keep them once I moved into this place, and just kind of snowballed after that with the ball pythons. And I still love ball pythons. I'm never gonna not have ball pythons. Like the vast majority of my collection is ball pythons, and the
banana ball pythons.
70 something, almost 80 snakes that I have in total. And there's 3 of them that aren't ball pythons.
Right.
But I'll keep doing it. But ball pythons are ball pythons. They sit in a ball. They don't do a whole lot.
Occasionally they do this.
Yeah, occasionally.
Yeah, Kate. But it's totally fine. I'm not saying you're going to get out of them. I just think it's very good for the whole hobby as a hobby as a whole, that people are coming into ball pythons and then they find out and they branch out and they may just purchase one other snake or the one carpet python or a blood python. But it kind of keeps it healthy for the whole market. Am I wrong?
No, you're right. It's good to have variety.
And I think it, like, so for me, I definitely at the start of this, it was a lot more business oriented in the sense of like I wanted to get my I wanted to get breeding soon, and I wanted to focus on ball pythons because when I got into this was 2019, 2020, and that was kind of the big boom of COVID. And a lot of it was, hey, let's get into it. Let's actually make our money, make some money back, and try to focus on that aspect. And being someone that started, it was easy to sell snakes at the start, and then the last few years it's been getting harder and harder to sell snakes. And it's definitely turned into more of, okay, let's take this a little less of a business approach and more go, okay, where can I have fun with this?
Right.
And I think that's more where things have been turning for us here.
Well, I definitely think that's a big part of it. I think you got to keep fueling your passion for it to make sense. If you don't, then I think it's difficult.
Mm-hmm.
You have to keep it fun for yourself. Otherwise, you're just not going to find the motivation to keep going with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he bought a really bitey green tree python.
Now you can dance around better.
Got to work on the reflexes.
Well, she's been getting better the last week, so I've been going in, giving her some water and stuff. And for the first few days, she was definitely very reactive and was like, you would move your hand across to like grab something, and like, because the way that I ever set her up, she's in a little tub that's in a bigger tank. And so I'd have to reach over to like grab something or open the lid in her tub, and she would strike and hit the tub a bunch. And now she's kind of just chilling. She's not striking anymore. So
that's all right.
There's a little bit of progress working.
I give yours a lot of hell, but out of the two of ours, I'm the only one who's gotten bit by mine so far.
Yep, I still have yet to be bit.
That's because
Although that's gonna not last very long.
It's called get a snake hook, Dylan.
Oh, I have one.
There you go. You'll be fine. So in comparison, Kodey, how did you find this show compared to like the WCRBE? Are they similar sized or?
I'd say the WCRE show, which is the biggest in Alberta, is roughly a half to a third the size of what the CRBE's reptile side was.
Okay.
So it's somewhat comparable, but there's definitely a heavier traffic flow for the CRBE and the Pet Expo in general, of course. You get a wider variety. It was cool to go there and see all the stuff that we can't keep here. Because even, there's still all your weird laws with Mississauga and whatnot around there. And, you can drive 5 minutes and you got a completely different set of rules to play by.
Yes.
Here we only have the provincial bylaws, essentially. So, none of the boega that were there you'd ever see out here unless somebody has an education permit. Hog noses, they're native here, can't keep them. And then, like I said earlier, a bunch of amphibian species that you don't normally see out here. Not a lot of newts, stuff like that.
Were there a lot of amphibians at the show? I know
there was a decent amount spread out between like Tails and Scales, Port Credit.
Okay.
Like your booth is like that where they carry a variety of things. There was a decent amount of amphibian
and then
variety.
There's understory enterprises. They're
Mhm.
always there. They always represent that part of it. That's pretty good. Anything you guys noticed particularly that kind of stood out to you or Katie while you were there?
The basins.
The $8,000 basins, those are cool to see.
The take out a mortgage to buy a snake. Yeah.
See, I have a love-hate relationship with basins because I love everything from the neck down. The heads, I can't get over the head shape.
You don't like their big old bulldog heads?
I don't like it. I don't like the head shape of.
They got to keep those big teeth somewhere.
I know.
That's right.
It looks so derpy to me. I'd rather have a chondro.
That's fair. I think most people do, actually. Chondros, I think, are more popular. They're easier to keep, so they are more popular that way. They also cost a lot less.
I'd 100% own one of the basins, but yeah, the price tag is an issue.
Yeah, that was one of my student loans, the whole loan.
You could have bought a whole Amazon basin, Dylan, instead of going to school.
Yeah. You know what? I would have been further ahead on it for doing it anyway.
Yeah, there you go. I only noticed there was 2 things I found a little surprising about the show. I didn't see very many or any breeder-sized females of ball pythons on people's tables. And similarly to males, I saw very few. I did see some. Like, I know Christian at Morphendorphins had a spot-nosed clown that was breeder-sized female. And he had a few males, right? He had the DG clown. I didn't see really many others. Now, I do know breeders have list of females that they're willing to sell, but nobody put them on the table, so I found that a little surprising.
Mm.
How about you, Casey? Anything stick out?
No. To me, it seemed like a more or less normal expo. I liked just the air of positivity, and everybody was just excited to be there, more or less. But I made a note of several animals that if I could, I would have had as pets, but that's pretty normal at every show.
Well, you got to take us through the list.
I was about to say, I'm like, you got to take us through the whole list now.
The first one that I saw was blue-tongued skinks. If I ever get a lizard, that's probably going to be one of the first ones I'm going to get.
I can tell you they're a lot of fun. First-hand experience with them.
Excellent. Because there were like 3 adults on this one table, and I'm like, I really want one, but the enclosure requirement is going to be way too big right away, so I'm probably not going to be allowed. But that was on my list. And in addition to the king snake that I did get, there were like 3 or 4 others that I really wanted. I think there was a larger Florida king that I wanted. There was a black and white banded Cali king. And there were gray banded king snakes at a different table, which also looked really cool. And I had my eye on those. I'm like, he was talking about them as being sort of a decent education animal, but they get a little bit smaller. And I do like snakes that get a tad bigger than 3.5, 4 feet. So that's why I ended up going with the Cali king anyway. But a whole bunch of king snakes that I wanted. What else? Oh, the green tree monitors. I found the table with those. Nice. And those are always a draw. Every time I see that, I'm like, oh, I really want one of those things.
Pretty sure it's Canadian cold blood, right, Brandon?
Yeah. Yes,
yeah. I don't think anyone else brings them.
No, and he had a Baronia too. I've never seen those in person before.
I've never seen those before in person either. Those are very neat. Was he selling them or is he showing them off?
Yeah,
he had a handful of them. What was the price on those?
1,100-ish for the greens.
Damn.
Okay.
Fucking Baronia.
I think there's a couple blues there too, but I didn't catch a price.
They're very cool.
Yeah, there was definitely at least one blue there. I had a look at that one.
Those are exceptional.
So pretty.
And then Northern Lights also had some. They had the Noltanus gray eye geckos.
Yep. Those are cool to see.
You don't want to breathe on those things because you're worried that they might die, and they're so expensive. Those are extremely cool. Very cool stuff that they brought. I don't know what else they sold, but they had the cat eye snakes. Boy,
yep.
She always does. That's her favorite. But
Isaac bought the Guero indigo snake that was on the table there too.
Yes, he did.
That was cool to see.
Isaac got quite a few things at the show.
Just a few, just a couple.
What did he buy? Other than pictures?
He bought the Indigo, 2 Blue Tree monitors.
Oh yeah, he did.
Oh wow.
I think that was about it. That was it, wasn't it? Was there more?
It's still an expensive trip.
It's a very expensive
Yeah.
trip.
Yeah,
The monitors alone are expensive.
Well, the Rubidus isn't that expensive comparatively, but yeah.
Yeah, still
I
a
think-
decent price tag.
I think there might have been one more thing, but I don't know.
I feel like there was, but it's hard
I
to
don't
keep
know.
track of Isaac and what he does.
I don't know, he's very secretive. We should... But yeah, I noticed those things at the show, which was surprising, but still a lot of pet level, some really high end stuff, really cool stuff that DPR's brought.
Yeah.
Really cool to see the monsoons in person. It's really interesting. He was talking to Nicole, actually. He was telling her about like bringing them, and that like this kind of sets up the sales for 5 years in the future, because you get people hooked onto the idea of, hey, this is what a cool monsoon is. And then people are like, I don't have $20,000, which is fine. And he's like, but you can buy these ingredients for X dollars and kind of build it there.
Mhm.
Hello,
It's a good way to
Shro.
garner interest.
Yeah, I think it's good. I actually really appreciate DPR for doing that. I think a few more people can do that. I didn't get a good chance to look at like Mark's table, so he might have done that and brought some scrambler stuff.
There was
And-
definitely scrambler stuff.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
could have brought some stuff to show off. Same as Peter. I didn't see his whole booth, but he could have brought some really cool show off animals too. So I appreciate everyone that does do that, because I think it's imperative to get people's interest to it.
Peter's
Yeah, I know
booth is neat because he
Peter-
brought a lot of his hybrid stuff just to show off in those
Yeah.
big towers. So they were really cool
Yeah.
to look at.
Yeah, I got to hold one of the angry balls, and he said, as long as you're okay with getting bit, which got bit, of course, but
You got bit a bunch that weekend.
yeah, it's nothing new to me.
Yeah, I think he had was it a blood or a short tail?
Who?
Which
Peter.
Uh,
I think he had one in the tower.
on the top of the tower,
Yeah.
the one you were eyeing up that I was trying to talk you into.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it was a T positive albino. I think it was a Batrix blood.
Yeah.
Right. I think it was a Matrix. I think you're right.
Yeah.
But I think that kind of lends itself to what you were saying, Katie, that everyone's just really positive. The CRBE some really positive, really good vibes all weekend.
And
Yeah.
Kodey, at least you didn't get bit by the tokays.
No,
Did
but I
you
have
get
been bit by
bit?
tokays before, so
Yeah, it's terrible.
No,
it's,
these were
it's a good time.
Well, that was
These are
another
the-
lizard I wanted. I had to talk myself out of the baby tokay.
He's pretty adorable and super
Oh,
Should have
friendly.
so
went for
cute.
it.
they were
Shoulda
the
went for
tamest
it.
tokays I have ever seen.
Hell, they were tamer than most crested geckos I've done.
Who had them?
What was her name?
Oh, you guys found her.
Her name is
Ni-
Rachel, and she was under
Niche
the black
Forms.
tent.
Niche Forms, I think is her Instagram.
Oh, I've seen them before. She always has animals out to show people, like Brazilian rainbow boas.
Yeah, she has.
She
Yeah, they had the
always has
Brazilian
something
one.
up.
Yeah.
It's really, yeah. She's
Yeah.
very big about education. It's very cool.
We got to play with. I think it was that exact baby tokay back in March. Yeah, it was back in March when my husband was vending with me, and she brought it over to our table because I had one of those crochet. I had a crochet plushie of a tokay that she fell in love with, and she came over to buy that, and then she came back and showed off this baby tokay, and she walked all the way over from her booth to ours with this tokay, and it was just sitting on her hand, and the thing was only about that big, and it was just clinging there, and it wasn't biting, it wasn't gaping its mouth open or anything. It was fabulous, and I'm pretty sure that was the one that was at the show last weekend as well. It was just a little bit bigger,
Yeah.
Yeah, and she had an
as well
adult
as it,
too.
as well as its grandfather,
Yeah,
which is
Mhm.
the
that was
big
the
one that was out.
Yeah, that thing was just so chill. It just popped in your hand.
No.
I want one like that so bad.
The
I
only
know
thing
that's
is,
not the norm, but that'd be so awesome to have one.
I would want one. Just the calls at night would get, I think, would get a little annoying.
It's not
Yeah,
that
that's right.
bad.
They
You'd
make
be
noise, don't
fine.
they?
They do make noise.
You'd be
Lots of it.
fine.
Oh, you don't want a
That's why I
screaming
like these,
Tokay
they're
at you
quiet.
all night long?
Yeah, just trying to sleep and you're just screaming Tokay in the background.
Okay,
You'll be
okay.
fine.
It's your own little angry white noise machine.
Yeah.
You'll be fine. They're not that bad. They just bark at you a lot. It's a lot of fun. I think you're
Yeah.
overblowing it.
They're definitely fun to deal with, but good reflexes. Make sure you have those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've dealt with a lot of wild cats. You're fine. Just they're fun. We need more Tokays in the business. We need, you know what? I didn't see any cat geckos, but maybe somebody had them. I just didn't see them. Haven't seen
Cat
those in a while.
gecko?
Yeah,
It was a cat gecko.
they were Scalabotus Felonus.
I feel like I saw the label, but I don't remember what the gecko looked like.
Now I gotta look
But
it up.
I saw the label at the show. Somebody had them.
Yeah, and I think there's actually they might have subspecies them out further. I think I might have saw one somewhere because it wasn't a Felonus.
I've never seen these things before.
They pop up from now and then. They're very cool geckos, little claws. They're really neat. I didn't see them, but their favorite, like, they kind of hit home for me. I've owned them a few times, but so yeah, I always look out for those ones. I think they're really neat. Some of the best geckos out there.
Yeah, I didn't see any of those. Saw some Strophorus geckos, which was cool to see. The Australian like spiny tail ones.
Yes, I saw those. I didn't keep a close eye out for stuff, but there was a fair amount of variety. It was neat seeing Empire Reptiles, I think it is. Ryan Brennan. He had a lot of the off-brand colubrids, right? He had did you see it, Katie? He had a really big gray banded king snake. He might have been the guy you were looking at. He might have been, there's a couple people, but he had the hypo one, right? The really light one on his booth. And it was really cool. He said it was wild caught. Somebody picked it up in Texas and shipped it to him. And it was really cool. I think it was a 9 mile. I don't know. Gray bands are very specific to their locality based on the road they're found in Texas.
Yeah, a lot of king snakes down there are like that these days. Bull snakes too. They just find the nearest like mile marker, road sign, name it after that.
Like the Kingsville Reds.
Yeah.
Which is funny. I only saw a very small amount of bull snakes. I think Monarch Reptiles were the ones they had. They had Xanthic and they had Kingsville Reds babies.
Yeah, those are cool to see too. We can't keep those here in Alberta either.
It's because they're native.
Yep.
So you can't keep anything. They're really hard on you for native stuff. We can't do it out here in Ontario, right? We can't have black rat snakes, even though they have cool morphs everywhere.
Yeah. I think we can finally keep garter snakes, but you need a permit to catch them. It used to be you couldn't keep them at all.
Well, that would be news to me. That would be really cool. I thought there was one species that you could keep, but I don't remember. I want to say it's the butlers, but maybe that's the one that you couldn't. I don't remember.
I know there's one species of garter snake in Ontario that you're not allowed to keep at all, and it's because it's the one that's endangered, but it's
probably the butlers, because we're not allowed to have them either.
Yeah. I just can't remember the species.
Yeah, it's the butlers. It's the butlers.
Yeah, they see. I was like, it's one of the. I'm like, the butlers is what we have, but I can't remember if it's legal to keep or legal not to keep.
It's illegal to keep because it's the endangered one.
Yeah.
Right. And then we have the one skink in Ontario, the 5-line skink.
Yeah.
We have one lizard, and that's it. We have a very shady climate.
I mean, we got one lizard too, but
we also have rattles. Well, we have both our rattlesnakes.
Yeah, bulls, rattles, 3 different types of garters, hognose.
Do you guys get prairie king snakes?
Prairie kings? No.
Yeah. Damn. See, you would think based on their name, they'd be native there.
We get a species of racer in the very southern edge of the province. Yeah, that's about it for herps. On the reptile side, anyway.
I don't know if we have racers here. I want to say we do, but I don't know. We have ribbon snakes. We have ringneck snakes.
Smooth green
Dylan,
snakes.
help me out here. There you go. The smooth green snakes.
Water snakes.
Come on, Dylan, you're sleeping.
There's a couple different.
Even if I was wide awake.
Keys brown snakes. We have the
Decays.
fox snake, the eastern hognose, the black rat snakes.
So he says you guys have a shitty climate. Then you just keep listing off herps.
Eastern milk snakes.
Eastern
There we
milk
go.
snakes. We have the Masaga rattler.
That
I think it's also
Mississauga
called a
Rattler.
pygmy in some
I
places.
think so. I do
I
think
the
that's the name it
Americans
goes
call it
by.
that.
Yeah.
Generally.
What is it? What is the one over here? Is it the blue racer or what is it?
I think you guys have a racer species of some kind.
There's one Southern Ontario. What's it called? It is a racer.
Blue racer.
Yeah, blue racer.
It is literally called the Google says we have a blue racer. So I was right.
Yeah.
I do have one. We have the northern red belly snake, eastern milk, the Nophis sorita. I don't know what it is. Eastern garter snake, ringneck snake, fox snake. Yeah, we named them all. I think it's pretty neat. We're pretty lucky to have these.
Yeah. I gotta go with herping more.
I find it's not super common in Ontario.
Mhm.
I know people in Northern Ontario. I do know people that do it, especially go searching for garters up north. But it's not something that like you kind of do in Ontario. I find like certain like southern states do it growing up. You see tons of people talk like, "Oh, hey, this is what I caught in my backyard. 7 years old." And it's like 7 bull snakes and a rattler.
I think it's just a lot harder to actually find them up here. Like, if you get really, really lucky, you can see something other than a garter snake go through my backyard.
Right. Oh, I'm sure you have smooth snakes, the green snakes there.
I've only seen one, and it's been on a hike.
See?
I've only ever seen one smooth green snake ever. My backyard, we have ribbon snakes, garter snakes, milk snakes. I think there's black rat snakes occasionally, and water snakes,
Right.
and Decay's brown snakes.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
So actually a fair variety, but I'll only see maybe 2 or 3 of them in any given year. Except for garter snakes, I'll see like 7 or 8.
You should
I'll
get
see
some
like 7 or 8 garter snakes at least.
You just gotta get some like tin, right? And put it flat in your backyard. You have a lot of space. And put it where the sun can collect on it, and then flip it over during the day. You'll get them.
Just bring down the average value of your neighborhood and putting out a bunch of tin sheets and stuff in the backyard.
Yeah. Or make a hibernaculum. Then you just get garter snakes. You have the space, do hibernaculum. There you go.
I think we've accidentally done that with our wood shed before. We find garter snake sheds in there all the time.
I've never found any snakes around here, but I live in the city, so.
I've only ever seen 1 or 2 in the city. There's one area not too far from me. I used to bike as a teenager, and we'd go hunting for snakes there. My buddy found them, but I never found them on my own.
Pardon me while I plug my phone in.
That's okay.
The nice thing about having the bow cutting right through Calgary is there's lots of habitat. I know a few different spots I can go within the city and find a dozen garter snakes pretty easily.
A dozen. Ship them. Well, if they're cool, ship them to me. Catch some melanistics.
No, haven't seen any mutations. Just Western terrestrials and red sides.
And red sides?
Yep.
Ship those to me.
I can't. I'm not allowed to I can't keep them. They got to be put back right away.
Yeah, you can't keep them. You're shipping them to me. Like, I keep bugging Isaac that he needs to find a rubber bow and send it to me.
We just got to go down to Washington.
Yeah,
and then you can get them there.
But then we have to deal with CITES.
I don't think so.
Thought most, if not all. I could be wrong.
Well, they're not a true boa.
No, they're not.
Oh, they're not?
No, they're they start with the C's.
Yeah, Chardonnay.
Yeah,
I don't think that's CITES listed. So,
well, let's look it up.
Aaron's gonna pull up the full CITES list.
I know they're protected in
I'm
BC.
actually pulling
to
them
my
up right
knowledge.
now.
I know you are.
Oh, I've gone through that appendices list.
I've gone through
times.
it and it fucking annoys me. doesn't tell me shit. Stupid CITES website didn't work.
Fun fact: technically, you can own a zebra in Alberta if you can get one shipped in and get the CITES permits approved.
No, well, that's not hard to do. I do know where. I don't know if it's still open since COVID, but I knew pre-COVID. Oh, we lost Katie's camera. I do know pre-COVID there was like a wildlife auction in like Kitchener-Waterloo, and you get zebras there like pretty easily. I just, I got shipped to you.
I mean, it can't be much harder than moving a horse through the provinces, right?
I have no idea, but I don't know.
Mariah would know.
Yeah, someone get Mariah.
Hey, Mariah.
Looking in the
We've got our
here?
connections.
I don't know if she's still there.
I don't know if she's still here. She might have been one of the first people to bounce.
I don't know. She's been looking at getting camels for the last couple of years, so if she can get a camel transported, I'm sure she could get a zebra
She's
transported.
gonna get camels. That'd be cool. Oh, I don't need mammals. I do have the list up, by the way, Dylan.
Oh, what's that?
I do have the CITES list up, but I need mammals. I gotta find the reptiles.
See if I can do this faster than Aaron.
Probably. I don't have it like linked up or anything.
All right.
Katie, you're struggling over there.
Katie, you surviving? Lizards, geckos.
I'm having charger issues. The thing that I thought was plugged in wasn't.
Chinese crocodile lizards are Appendix 1. Hey, so do you know? I'd be asking Dylan, Kodey.
Yep.
What is CITES 1? CITES 2 is like they're technically like they're under watch, and that's why we need to have the permits to make sure we're not like screwing shit up in the wild.
They're like threatened, right?
CITES 1 is there's no permits. You can't. Unless you're a zoo, you typically cannot move them over borders, to my knowledge.
And
So that's your Argentine boas.
Right, but what's 3?
That I don't know. I've never seen anything.
Because I can never
CITES
remember
3
which
listed.
ones they are, right?
But I just went through the list. Rubber boas aren't there.
Nope, they're not. That's kind of weird, isn't it?
Not really. Aren't they technically like a colubrid?
They might be. What's their taxonomy?
Oh no, they're in boas. But
Okay,
Yeah.
so species 1 exists for species that are the most endangered. Species 2 are threatened, and species 3 are when the purpose of export is not commercial is number 3. So that's like you're literally bringing your like dog with you somewhere or something, I think. Is what Appendix 3
Sure,
covers.
but it would have to be okay. So the water sinks that are like 3 can just get through. Well, it's for commercial, right? So you have to be saying it's your pet, I guess. Because like there's a Honduras, I don't know, some names they don't have. Cobras are all only CITES 2.
Yeah, it says Appendix 1 lists species that are the most endangered amongst CITES listed animals and plants. Oh wait, never mind. Hold on. So yeah, that's number 1. 2 is they're not necessarily threatened, but their trade is being closely controlled.
Yeah.
Okay, and 3 says is a list of species including at the request of a party that already regulates trade in the species and that needs a cooperation of other countries to prevent unsustainable or illegal exploitation.
So that is more institutional, is what you're saying?
I think
Is that how it reads to you? I don't know.
this is international trade in species of the species listed in this appendix is only allowed on the presentation of the appropriate permits and certificates.
Right. So what we're saying is 1 and 3 you could just never get. Let's put it that
Think
way.
so.
And 3 is like less like 1 you somehow might be able to get personally, but 3 you'll never get personally for your own little breeding project, essentially.
thing.
And so yeah, we have the Sanzinia, Epicritis subflavus, the Monensis, Inornatus, and the Occidentalis, which is what you talked about, the
Argentines.
yeah, which is
How-
why
Yeah.
we don't ever have anyone properly breed them.
Well, they're all related up here.
Yes, that's
Pretty
why
closely.
when people are like, "Oh, I got," I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sure they are all the same ones that got smuggled in X number of years ago." Oh, and I was unaware. Doomer bows are also CITES
Yep.
1,
Oh,
which all their SSP,
Yeah.
SPP are all. So the Madagascar ground bows, anything like that, which sucks. Oh, I was not aware for some reason that might be why we don't have a freaking project in.
Okay, I found a better explanation of 3. So this appendix contains the species that are protected in at least one country, which has asked other CITES parties for assistance in controlling the trade. So if one country deems it like at risk or
Protected.
something, protected, then it tells all the other CITES members, like CITES compliant countries, hey, we need to control this.
Right, so they won't allow it. Okay, so you're saying that's hyper controlled, essentially, number 3.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. That's like those Mexican dolphins that was it Mexico that shut down all their borders and all their CITES animals because people were like fishing, trying to fish like these dolphins. All their CITES all their CITES got
Something along
pulled,
there.
right? They shut
Yeah.
down for like a month.
yeah.
Yeah, I know a bunch of tarantula keepers were freaking out about that.
Right. They're like, oh, you're not getting this. Which the funny thing about it is just that we kind of just as pet keepers, we just kind of get caught in the crossfire of this because we like it doesn't like there's nothing we're gonna do. Like they don't come after us purposely, really. They don't shut that stuff down for us. We just get kind of caught in the crossfires of that kind of stuff of like these dolphins, right?
Yeah.
That's it. Oh, and apparently Jamaican boas are also on CITES 1.
Hmm.
We have had them in Jamaican boas and the Puerto Rican boas. I believe they've been in the country. I want to say Corey
I
was.
thought
Maybe
was-
he had Cuban boas.
Why am I thinking there was a Jamaican boa at the show?
I think there was a Cuban. I know there were Dominican red mountain boas.
Yes, Kodey Joe had them.
Yeah.
Cuban boas are pretty close to those ones, actually. The
Mhm.
Jamaicans and the Puerto Ricans. Big old heads.
Not Dylan's cup of tea.
No, not based
No
on his
bobbleheaded
hate for
snakes for him.
no, for all his hate towards the Amazon basin, we know the truth. Yeah, so they're pretty good. Yeah, I would like to see a little bit more rare stuff at shows, but I also understand like I'm always been a believer like a lot of people use it as a petting zoo of some sort.
Well, and especially with what it's become now, with the Pet Expo being attached to
Right.
the CRB, we don't
Right.
technically get a CRBE anymore. We get the Pet Expo with the Aquatics Expo and Reptile Expo just on the side.
The Aquatics Expo has grown the last like couple. He's only done that for a couple like 3 years now, I think 2 or 3 years now, and it's grown a lot each year. And I think it's really cool to see kind of like how the show is developed. Like we actually have full vendors this year with like a number of live fish tanks set up to sell. Right before there was only a couple. A lot of tank designs, a lot of scaping. Joey from DIY was there.
Yeah.
It's really cool. I don't know. I like seeing how cool it is. I like seeing other parts of the pet world grow in Canada too. So
Yeah, I'm excited to see how the aquatics ramps up over the next few years because I'm big into that side of things too, and
right,
cool seeing some species there.
they could eventually just become its own. Technically, they could just do their own show. Like I know the YouTubers did Aquashella. They started that thing, and it's grown into this giant thing, right?
Yeah.
So it is really. I don't know. I think it's really cool. It does go hand in hand. We'll see if they take over. Maybe we'll get shuffled to the side to that little area. Then they'll take over the big area.
What it's looking like. I just wish we had our own CRB where it was just, hey, here's the reptile
We used to.
show. I know we used to.
We used to take up a bigger hall, like the halls across there. We used to take up where
Yep.
the pet show is. They used
Yep.
to be the CRBE.
Yep, I remember 2019. That was a good year.
I'm sad I missed those days.
And we just don't have, I think, vendor support, and people just don't go. Maybe if certain parts of Ontario didn't boycott shows, we could have our own big CRB again. Dylan.
Yeah, Dylan, it's all your fault, apparently.
Yeah, boycotting it.
Yeah, all your fault.
That's one job, man.
More like not being able to afford it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Is what, $900, Katie? Roughly $800, $900 for the 2 days?
It's
Yeah,
$1,000.
It was $900. The early bird pricing for the reptile area was $900 this year.
Does that include like power and stuff? Like,
No.
what does that?
No, it doesn't include power. You have to pay an extra $270.
270?
Yeah. So it's cheaper to buy a battery backup.
Is it just me or is Katie super muffled now?
Yes, she is.
Oh, am I?
Yeah, you're
I'm
super
assuming
muffled.
she's on her phone mic and she's far away from it.
Yeah, I had to use the phone because, well, I plugged it in, but apparently it's not charging, so I'm at 22% now.
It's okay. We won't be on much longer. We'll just go for like close to an hour and that's it.
It's interesting you guys have to pay for extra for power. It's not something we have to do out
Yeah.
here.
And
It's only at the CRBE.
do you notice that we're at the International Center?
It's
they
included
charge
in
a lot.
regular shows.
The
Yeah,
regular shows is all included, Katie, you said?
yeah. Regular shows like I haven't vended a CRB and I don't think I will. For
See,
a
I was
while.
thinking of vending next year, but I was going to get my friend to join me because he does, like, we have a couple of joint projects like colubrids and stuff.
See,
But he's
but
got a ton of bull snakes.
they don't like that for the CRB. They don't like people.
Well, it'd be under
keeping up
my
on it.
be my banner, and then
Mhm.
he would just be joining me, right? And he
Yeah.
could bring his stuff. They can't tell me I can't bring
No, and that's how
my
other
black
people
milled
do it.
snakes.
Yeah,
They're him and I bought them together. He's gonna breed them because colubrids do better there than me here. But they're like mine technically, right? So
Mhm.
put them on the table. I'll get him to bring an adult. That's the goal. Put an adult on the table. See a nice big 6-foot black snake. Which we don't get black pines. I haven't seen black pines in a long time. Cody, do you guys have them out there?
I've seen them here and there. Usually when I see them, it's Tyrone at Canadian Mouseman carrying them.
Yeah,
He likes
they're
his pine
legal,
snakes.
right?
Yeah, they're one of the few, pine snake,
Pituophis?
bull snake, Pituophis that you can keep here.
One of the few. So what are you, so can you keep? So you can't keep any bull snake.
Nope,
Can you keep gophers?
not to
of
my
any
knowledge.
sort? And you can keep the black pines, but can you
It's
keep
black
northerns?
pines, Louisiana pines, maybe northern pines.
Northerns, I could see not being allowed because
Yeah.
it goes north is New Jersey, right?
Yeah.
Which have the really nice black and white, which is what I always wanted. People really like the pink chinned ones.
Mm.
Anyway, I like to see more stuff of that CRB. What would you like to see done at the CRB, like to improve it, Katie?
Way to put me on the spot. I don't know.
All right, we'll jump to Dylan. Dylan, I don't know. I thought of the question real fast.
Lower the prices of the tables. That would be nice.
That's fair. That's a fair statement.
I bet $200 bucks.
I mean,
like for most vendors, like you have to get a hotel at least, unless you can find
Mhm.
somewhere else to stay, like you have family or something. But if you're getting a hotel, you're looking at like almost at least a $1,500 weekend.
It's
Oh,
a
probably closer to two.
$1,500 weekend,
Mm.
definitely. Like,
it's got to be
We
closer to
didn't-
2, right? With food and everything. Gas,
Yeah, it
food.
depends. Yeah, depends what you do, but yeah.
yeah.
What I would like to see with the CRB is I would like to see a CRB. Have it actually just be a dedicated 2-day reptile show that we get, where we could still. I don't mind the pet expos, but I want my CRB back.
Okay. If that was the case, would you, to get that there, if someone's like, well, we need more vendors, would you vend to get it? Would you vend just to get that?
It depends on the price point. If they want to bring the prices down a bit, but again, it's $1,500 a weekend. That's a lot.
I'm assuming the price to have a standalone. I'm assuming the prices would stay where they are.
I don't see them dropping the price.
I don't see them dropping the price anyway. But lower prices would be a good idea. Kodey from out west, what do you in coming here? What would you see an improvement, or did you notice anything like off that?
It was. I know it's a big pet expo. It was weird having dogs walking around and having to dodge dogs or
Dog shit.
yeah, that too. Yeah, because like service animals are allowed in our expos here, but we don't.
Of course,
no dogs, nothing like that ever really comes through. So that was interesting. Aside from that, I don't think so.
That's fair. Did you guys? Well, you didn't see the Crutchfields, right, Dylan? So, did you like the little VIP area that they had right in the middle of the CRB with those like the standalone tables? That's where the VIP area was if they were there, right? To meet people.
It was like a VIP lounge, but
it wasn't even really a lounge, but yes.
Yeah.
Was that
blue
where like
curtains.
half the tables were like the land or the like terrarium scaping thing was
Yeah.
going on?
Yes, right in that area, I
Okay.
believe.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was a VIP section. I was like, this is just a weird open area. I never saw anyone hanging out by it or anything.
Correct. I think they need to do a better job of setting up VIPs and guests. I have felt that they've always like, you walk by, there's a scene there one year with Dave Kaufman and he was there and you could go talk to him, I guess, or whatever, but you'd have to notice it. No, there's no announcement. There's no board to say what time people are supposed to be there. It's kind of weird.
Was that VIP lounge like literally right across from where I was?
I
Pretty
think
much,
so.
yeah.
Because I was right by the terrarium escaping thing.
I think it's just on the other
big
side.
empty space, and there was like one guy that was there for maybe 3 hours on Saturday,
Yeah.
and that's it. It was mostly abandoned on Sunday.
Yeah. I don't think scaping totally worked. Weird that it doesn't, because we have a lot of the plant vendors do very well. And the fish scaping do really well, but terrarium scaping hasn't really caught on yet.
And like they didn't really announce the scaping, what was happening. They didn't make a big deal about it. So it was just, I don't know, there were people there that were decorating the terrariums and
right.
Okay, great. There's people there doing stuff. But I don't know how many people actually walked through to actually see what they were doing. I know it, like I was right there and I wasn't sure of the point of that entire thing after a little while.
Right. It's kind of my point, that some of that stuff feels some of the stuff that they put a lot of work into gets lost.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys do you do that at your shows, Kodey? Like scaping or anything like that?
Nope.
Or VIP booths with influencers? I did see Adam walking around a fair amount, and he was pretty accessible. So that was pretty good.
Yeah, I saw him a bit on Saturday. I felt like most of the activity was on Saturday, which is kind of expected, I think. But
yeah, it was a little quieter on Sunday, but people still were making sales on Sunday.
Oh yeah,
but it was quieter. I saw Dylan and Kodey then.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys go to Tails and Scales, Kodey?
Yeah, we did.
And how'd you guys enjoy it?
It's pretty cool to see. It's awesome. From the reptile side, there was some cool things. There's a nice black tree monitor there that was actually pretty personable. Saw Nelson was hiding a male southern white-lip python in there.
Did you buy it?
No.
Or did Isaac buy it?
No.
Do you have northerns or southerns?
I've got my northerns. I prefer the golds.
You're in the minority.
Yeah.
You know that, right?
I do.
But they're bigger.
The southerns are bigger.
Are they? I thought the northerns. I know at the Toronto Zoo they have some big old northerns.
The blacks, well, I think the blacks can reach 7 to 9 feet pretty regularly, whereas the northerns are more 6, 7.
This thing was like 8 feet. This thing was massive. But that was a Toronto Zoo, so
yeah. Seeing the aquarium side of Tails and Scales, that was really cool to see a lot of species I haven't seen in person. Stingrays are there.
Yeah, I think he's done a lot of work to that.
Yeah,
it looks really good.
I noticed there's a tank with zebra plecos, which I've never seen in person before. They're like the holy grail of pleco species.
Yeah, they're trying to get those bred.
Yeah, and then just the sheer volume of plants that's in that store on the greenhouse side.
Yes, he's got quite the setup there for some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, we're pushing to an hour. So anyone have final thoughts on the CRBE? We'll start with Kodey.
No, it was great to finally experience it. I've been wanting to make a trip out to that expo since 2018, essentially, and just haven't been able to make it work. So it's nice to finally make it out there, despite some issues like getting locked out of my hotel room and some other fun things. And
it just is what it is, right?
Yeah, getting to meet a bunch of people that I've been talking to for 3-4 years now online, and finally meeting them in person, like Katy, Dylan. Yeah, just about everybody out there. So definitely planning on coming out next year and trying to make it a yearly thing if I can. Come annoy all you Ontario people. That's always fun.
For real. All right, so we'll see you next year. Dylan, your final thoughts?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I had a fun time, meeting Kodey, Isaac, a few other people that came from out west. Yeah, I had a good time.
That's good. You'll enjoy getting bit by your tree, and then you'll buy in mail next year. That sounds about right. And then Katy, what are your thoughts?
I had a great time. I thought it was pretty cool. Of course, I'm a bit of a different vendor because I have all those crocheted plushies up there too. So I'm almost guaranteed to pay off my weekend if I were to do it again. I think I'd do it again. As long as I can stay with family again, I'll do it again.
That's fair. Save yourself like $300 easy.
Like $450, managed to save that. But,
right,
because for that weekend you basically have to stay 2 nights.
It's 2 nights, yeah.
Because you set up
Friday night, Saturday night.
Right. Well, I think it was very positive. It was great to meet you, Kodey.
Likewise.
Very positive outlook, I think, for the reptile hobby. Would like this. I do agree with both Katy and Dylan to see it A, get cheaper for vendors, and B, have its own CRB set aside for 2 days. That would be really cool to have.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be fun to just have a reptile focus thing. I would also be fine with it being fish related, the aquatic and reptile thing. And obviously he's going to add plants all the time now. So like if it's just those three, because they go a little more hand in hand, I'd accept that. If we were trying to make own reptile thing, I'd accept that, in my opinion.
Just keep the fuzzies out of it. All the fuzzy animals.
Yeah.
Unless they're in the freezer.
Yeah, we can do that. I didn't see really any rodent feeder vendors.
I saw a few. There was a few.
Were there?
At least 2, yeah.
I should say I specify like frozen rodents. I don't know if I saw those. But they could have been there. I wasn't looking for them.
I needed pinky mice for my new king snake. So
right.
I got them. Port Credit Pets had their feeder section there. They had a couple of big freezers in the back.
Right. Okay. So they did. But I don't know if anyone else did. People used to fight over like how many were allowed in there. So is what it is. All right. On that note, I'll just say thank you for everyone joining me tonight. Had a conversation, and we'll talk soon.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Aaron.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
And